What if everything you thought you knew about reality TV was carefully scripted fiction hiding something much darker? Yeah, let that sink in. Because right now, behind the glossy edits, the emotional confessionals, and those perfectly timed redemption arcs, something is cracking. And at the center of it, two names you already know, but may not see the same way after this. Dr. Jackie Walters and Porsha Williams. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. For years, one stayed composed, measured, silent, watching everything unfold like it was all part of a bigger performance, while the other built an image the audience connected with, emotional, vulnerable, relatable. But what if that image wasn't the full story? What if the silence wasn't accidental, but strategic? Because according to whispers now turning into something much louder, Dr. Jackie didn't just speak up. She disrupted a narrative. And the moment she did, everything changed. We're talking raised voices, sudden tension, a reaction that, if witnesses are to be believed, went way beyond just words. So now the question isn't just what was said. It's why the response felt like something had just been exposed. And trust me, if even half of this is true, this isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This is fallout. Right after that moment, when the room reportedly went quiet in a way that didn't feel normal, everything started making a lot more sense. Because this wasn't just two reality TV personalities clashing for screen time. This was history catching up. On one side, you have Dr. Jackie Walters, someone who built her reputation on composure, discipline, and saying just enough but never too much. The kind of person who doesn't jump into chaos, but also doesn't forget what she's seen. And on the other side, Porsha Williams, a personality shaped by headlines, reinventions, and moments that somehow always land right at the center of public attention. Now here's where it gets interesting, because their paths didn't just randomly cross one day and explode. No, this tension? It's been building quietly in the background for years. Subtle comments, side glances, moments that didn't seem like much at the time, but now, they look very different when you rewind the tape. There were whispers, always whispers, about inconsistencies, about timelines that didn't quite add up, about stories that seemed polished, too polished. But in reality TV, that's normal, right? Or at least, that's what everyone tells themselves, until someone decides to stop playing along. And according to multiple accounts floating around behind the scenes, that's exactly what happened. It allegedly went down during what was supposed to be a controlled setting. Cameras nearby, production involved, the kind of environment where drama is expected but contained. Except this time, it wasn't. Witnesses claim the shift started subtly. A comment here, a tone change there. Nothing explosive yet. In fact, what threw people off the most was how calm Dr. Jackie reportedly was. No yelling, no dramatic gestures, just precision. Like someone who knew exactly what they were about to say and exactly what it would trigger. And then she said it, not in a way that sounded like gossip, in a way that sounded like confirmation, allegedly referencing past relationships that overlapped, private situations that didn't match the public timeline, details that, if true, would completely reframe how people see everything that's been presented on screen. And that's when the energy in the room changed. Fast. Because according to what people are claiming online, it wasn't just the words, it was the reaction that followed. Phones came out. Not to record, those were already rolling. But messages. Fast. Urgent. Almost like people were trying to get ahead of something before it spread too far. One alleged crew member posted, then quickly deleted, a message that read, "Yeah, this isn't making the final cut. No way." Another anonymous account hinted, "Some truths aren't meant for storyline, this just got real." Now, whether those posts were authentic or not, that's still unclear. But the timing? That's what people can't ignore. Because within moments, what started as a tense conversation reportedly escalated into something no one expected. Voices raised. Interruptions layered over interruptions. And then came the moment that everyone keeps circling back to, that shift from controlled confrontation to something personal. Something emotional. Something that didn't feel like it was for the cameras anymore. According to multiple retellings, Porsha's reaction wasn't just defensive, it was intense. Immediate. The kind of reaction that doesn't leave room for processing, only responding. And that's where the first real crack appeared. Because in situations like this, people don't just listen to what's said. They watch how it's handled. And right now, that reaction is raising more questions than answers. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get more intense, they did. Because what started as a closed-room confrontation didn't stay contained for long. In fact, within hours, the narrative began leaking out in fragments. Not full stories, not confirmed reports, just pieces. And somehow, those pieces were enough to set everything on fire. It began quietly. A single post, then another. Then suddenly, timelines were flooded. Clips, quotes, insider threads. People claiming they knew what really happened. One viral post read, "If what Dr. Jackie said is true, this changes everything about Portia's storyline." Another shot back almost immediately. Or maybe this is just another setup. Y'all fall for anything. And just like that, sides were drawn. But here's where it gets messy. Because in the middle of all this noise, a second twist dropped. One no one saw coming. According to multiple anonymous accounts, this wasn't the first time concerns had been raised behind the scenes. In fact, some claimed producers had allegedly been aware of certain inconsistencies for a while, but chose to frame things differently for the audience. Let that sit for a second. If true, that means this wasn't just about one confrontation. This was about a narrative that may have been carefully managed for years. And suddenly, people weren't just questioning Portia. They were questioning everything. The edits, the storylines, the emotional arcs that fans had invested in season after season. Even media commentary pages started picking it up. Headlines like, "Reality TV illusion cracking?" Fans demand answers after explosive on-set incident, and then came the celebrity reactions. Subtle at first, a like here, a cryptic emoji there. But then one reality TV personality, who chose not to be named directly, posted, "The truth always finds a way out no matter how long you sit on it." No names, no tags. But everyone knew who it was about. Meanwhile, others rushed to defend Portia, arguing that the entire situation felt orchestrated. One fan tweet that gained traction said, "Funny how truth only comes out when cameras are around. Y'all don't see the pattern?" And honestly, that question stuck. Because as the debate intensified, it stopped being about facts and started becoming about perception. Supporters argued this was years of pressure finally boiling over. That anyone in that position would react strongly if pushed far enough. Critics, on the other hand, weren't convinced. They pointed to the intensity of the reaction, the timing, the silence that followed. And they asked the question no one could ignore. If there was nothing to hide, why did this hit so hard? Meanwhile, industry insiders allegedly began distancing themselves. Collaborations paused. Appearances quietly canceled. Not publicly announced, of course not. Just gone. And behind the scenes, things reportedly got even more tense. Because now it wasn't just about what was said. It was about what might come next. Rumors started circulating about receipts, messages, old footage, unseen clips, the kind of material that doesn't just spark controversy. It confirms it. But here's the twist no one was ready for. Despite all the noise, all the speculation, all the viral chaos, there was still no clear denial, no detailed breakdown, no attempt to shut it down completely, just controlled statements and a very noticeable shift in tone. And that's when the conversation took another turn. Because people weren't just asking what happened anymore. They were asking, what hasn't come out yet? And if this is only the beginning, then what exactly is everyone so nervous about? And just when it felt like the story had reached its peak, something else surfaced. Not louder, not messier, just more precise. Because while everyone was busy arguing online, picking sides, defending narratives, dissecting reactions, another layer quietly slipped into the conversation. And this one, it didn't come from fans. It allegedly came from someone much closer to the situation. An account, unverified of course, posted a thread that didn't look like speculation. It read like someone filling in blanks the public didn't even know existed. No dramatic language. No insults. Just a series of statements that ended with one line. This didn't start that night. That night was just when it couldn't be controlled anymore. Let that sink in. Because if that's even remotely true, then everything we've been watching, the arguments, the reactions, the silence, that's not the story. That's the aftermath. According to these circulating claims, the confrontation wasn't about one comment or one accusation. It was allegedly the result of multiple unresolved situations stacking up over time, things that were addressed privately, redirected publicly, and eventually ignored completely. Until they weren't. And suddenly, Dr. Jackie's calm delivery starts to look different. Not like someone stirring drama, but like someone closing a chapter. Meanwhile, Porsha Williams' response? That's being reanalyzed from every angle. Not just what was said, but what wasn't. Body language, timing, the pause before speaking, the decision to step back afterward. Because here's the uncomfortable part no one can fully agree on: silence can mean a lot of things. It can be strategy, it can be protection, or it can be pressure. And right now, no one knows which one this is. But here's where the final twist changes everything. Because behind the scenes, there are now whispers, not confirmations, not official statements, but whispers that this situation may not stay contained to just one show, or even one network. Some are hinting at internal reviews. Others mention conversations happening at a level far above what viewers ever see. And then there's the word that keeps coming up again and again: documentation. No one's explained it. No one's confirmed it. But the implication? That there may be more than just stories, more than just reactions. Something tangible. Something that, if it ever surfaces, wouldn't just fuel the narrative. It would redefine it. And suddenly, everything feels unfinished. Because think about it, if this was just a misunderstanding, it would have faded by now. If it was just drama, it would have been redirected. But instead, it's lingering, growing quieter but heavier, like something waiting for the right moment to drop. And maybe that's the real story here. Not what was said, not even how it was received, but what's being held back. Because if there's one thing situations like this have proven over and over again, it's that the biggest revelations don't come during the explosion. They come after, when people think the noise has died down, when attention shifts, when guards drop. So the real question isn't whether the story is over. It's whether we've even seen the beginning of what's actually coming next. Because if these whispers turn into something more, this won't just be a controversy anymore. It'll be a turning point. And something tells me, this silence? It's not the end of the story. It's the setup. So now it comes down to this. After everything you've heard, everything that's been said, denied, not denied, and everything that still doesn't quite add up, what do you actually believe? Was this a long overdue moment where the truth finally slipped through the cracks? Or are we watching another perfectly timed reality TV storm designed to keep everyone talking? Because let's be real for a second. If Dr. Jackie Walters really said what people are claiming she said, then this wasn't just drama. And if Porsha Williams reacted the way witnesses are describing, then that reaction raises even bigger questions. But here's the part that makes this even more uncomfortable. Why does it feel like we're still missing something? Why does it feel like the real story hasn't fully come out yet? And more importantly, who benefits from keeping it that way? So I want you to go down to the comments right now and be honest. Was this exposure or exaggeration? Is silence a smart move or a red flag? And if more receipts actually drop, whose side are you on? Because trust me, this situation, it's far from over. And if even half of what's being hinted at is real, the next update might not just shake the narrative, it might completely destroy it. So don't go anywhere. Hit that like button if you made it this far, subscribe if you want more deep dives like this, and turn on notifications, because when the next piece of this story drops, you already know we're going to break it down. And something tells me that next drop, it's going to change everything.